This is the Inspection Pro Joe podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join hosts Joey and Jake as they share insider knowledge and chat with the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to Inspection Pro Joe, episode 39. Today, Joey and I will be answering some listener questions that we got in our Instagram DMs. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who's engaging and reaching out to us on Instagram. We've had such a great welcoming there, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for that. But to Greg Stewart on Instagram, thank you very much for reaching out. And Greg had an idea here, Joey. He asked us if we would do an episode discussing starting your business and some wisdom for the new guys. So we do have a lot of episodes about growing your business and really, helping guys take it to the next level and getting to where they want to be. But today I thought it would be great to just, pick your brain, Joey, and answer some of Greg's questions. So we'll start with just the general open questions and then get into the more specifics. So I guess get into starting it.
I'm down. And you know what? We really appreciate the questions that are coming in. This gives us topics of what you guys want to hear. So Greg, thank you so much for engaging with us. It's Inspection Pro Joe on Instagram. You can contact with us, message with us. We're there for you. So really appreciate it. And we're really glad to be doing this episode for the new guys that are just starting out.
Absolutely. So starting your business, Joey, if you're, bringing it back to the beginning of your home inspection days and you were to start from scratch, what are some of the things that you would focus on that you now know are important points to focus on?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you need, I always tell people that, you think getting the home inspection license, or if you're a licensed state, that is like the easiest thing, right? Mm-hmm. Getting your home inspection license. The hardest thing is actually starting a business. We have this notion where we put on a phone number and we think the phone's going to ring. You have to go make that phone ring. And it's simple. It's not like this work is complex. Is it hard work? Sure. Are you going to have to give up a lot of time? Yes. But your resource that you have when you start a business is you have time. You're not out doing inspections. So maybe you have some word of mouth in the beginning. You have some family, friends. Maybe you knew a realtor that's going to give you a try. Your whole goal is to get business coming in. And one of the best ways to do that, and that we still do in our business today, is we visit offices in the hopes that we're going to get a presentation during one of their team meetings. And so as you start planning your days, you are the marketer. So you need, as you're a single man shop, you need to do routes wherever your inspection is. Maybe you have a 9 a.m. inspection. Well, what are you going to do until 4 o'clock that afternoon, or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon after that inspection's over? You need to start looking at real estate offices, going in, look professional. Don't wear your inspection gear. Put on a nice collar shirt and be presentable, because that's a big part of it. And get to know the person that runs the office, the gatekeeper that when you open up the door, they're there to greet you. And hand out your literature. That's not it, though. You have to make sure there's an intention to get a presentation. And this is what we talk about our marketing team to this day is, I don't care if you visit offices. I care that you visit office and get a presentation, because if I can get 5 minutes of agents' attention, I'm going to walk away with some business on that. And so that is the biggest thing. It's not SEO. It's not all this. It's not spend money to make. When you're early in business, your resource is time. And as you build on that and you stay consistent, you're not going to do this 2 days and get phone calls. You're going to have to do this every single day until your schedule is so full with inspections that now you need to look at hiring somebody else. You can't keep up with phone calls because the phone's ringing off the hook. Now you need to look into hiring somebody else. So you keep it very, very simple in the beginning. I need revenue to come in, and I need to not spend it to get it. Now, do you have to have a website? Do you have to have a social media page? Yeah, but those can be done for free, and run by you until you don't have the time to do it. So those are the biggest things. I think we try to complicate it with like, all right, I'm going to pay for Yelp. I'm going to pay for Angie's List. I'm going to pay for Home Advisor. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. You need to waste your time doing what we just talked about, doing inspections and building relationships with agents. And I think those things can be done at very minimal cost. The largest cost is going to be your time to build your business. And then once you start doing 200, 300, 400 inspections in a year, now you can say, all right, I've built this solid base. I did it fairly quickly because I listened to Inspection Pro Joe. I listened to people that have gone before me and done it, right? And now I can look to hire. Okay, so now what? Now I built up the business. I just was doing a few simple things consistently. Now I have some money. Now I have some financial resource. Now I can go out and pay for clicks, or I can have more of a social media presence. I can pay someone to do my social media because I don't really want to do that. I can hire somebody to answer the phones. I can pay for the backup call center. I can hire my first inspector, right? Because if you're the guy that's wearing all the hats and now you hire that first inspector and you're going to train them, it's not going to be the best way. But if now I've taken some of the admin stuff off my plate, now it frees me up to bring this guy on jobs with me. I don't have to worry about answering the phone anymore. And that's kind of the route that it goes for the single men that are listening. You have to be consistent. I don't just go to the gym one day and I'm going to be ripped. That is consistency. Yeah. I know what I have to do, right? A pill ain't going to get me looking good. And I think so many of us, we want that magic pill when we first start out. What's the secret? Here is the secret. I'm going to tell you right now.
The buzzword of the day.
It's answer your phone, schedule inspections as a single man operator. And then when you're not answering the phone and scheduling inspections or doing the inspection, you need to go to real estate offices and build build relationships and get in and do team meeting presentations. Team meeting presentations. That is what you need to do. And then you need to track the new agents that come from doing that. And you will snowball. We do that now. The largest company in Florida, the fastest growing company in Florida, Max Home Inspections, they do that. And it's like, I remember talking with Sean, and we need to have him on the podcast, the owner of Max Home Inspections, and his wife, Sylvia. He's like, Joey, it's nothing crazy. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just going hard at the marketing efforts of visiting offices with the intent of booking a presentation for their team at their team meetings. I'm like, wow, that's the secret. It is the secret. We've done that to build our business. It's going back to that root. Because here's the challenge. When you start getting more money, you think you have to spend it to make it. And so now that marketing that was working for us to build our business, we think we have to go do the next shiny little thing. Oh, what about this? Oh, yeah, this. I'm going to boost my videos on Facebook. And all that is somewhat important, but everything we do in marketing has to be measured. And so that's where it goes. Those are the things when you're first starting out that you need to do. Well, I don't like talking to people. Well, then don't build a business. I don't like then just sit there and the phones won't ring. You have to be comfortable with building relationships, else you will not build a business. You have to get over that fear. And the fear is paper thin. And how you get rid of fear is doing something over and over and over again. It's like when I was a little kid, right? And talking to that girl was hard for me. Going up and trying to get a phone number was hard for me. When I separated,
shocking
for you, yeah, right? When I separated from my wife, it wasn't hard for me. Yeah, it was the fear, will I be liked again? Yeah. But I knew what to do to get what I wanted, right? Why wasn't I afraid now? Because I'm older and I've done it over and over and over again as a single person. Same thing. If you don't like speaking in front of people, start speaking in front of people. If you don't like
Get
showing up to
comfortable with
offices
it.
and trying to get business, start showing up to offices and get business. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to fumble over your words. You're going to do those things. But the only way to get over that is to do it. And you know what? You're probably not the best marketer for your company, but it has to start with you until you have the financial resources to hire that marketing person, to hire the schedule. You know, we used to, I remember first starting out, nobody could schedule an inspection better than me. I'm great at it. And then we get a team and I'm like, wow, they are way better
Yep.
than I am. And you know what? People actually like talking to them where they didn't like talking to me. You are not the best at everything that you do. And you need to find, and you will find those people will reveal
Yeah.
themselves to you and you'll be like, wow, I am not answering it the right way. You know, as you start getting financial resources, so you start building the business, you start going out, doing office presentations, and now the phone starts ringing consistently, and you're up to 200, 300 inspections a year, 100, 200, 300. This is a good time to find mentors within our industry so you can make less mistakes. You still will make mistakes, but you can make less mistakes. Learn from the people that have gone before you. One of the most valuable things about this podcast for everybody, including myself, as an inspection business owner, is I get to learn from incredible people. Incredible people. So if you listen to this podcast, good. There's a start. You're getting free information that you can go and implement in your business. Go back to the basics. If you're at $1 million and you're wondering why you're not at 1.2 or 1.5 yet, and you've been stuck at $1 million for a couple years, listen to what I just told the new guy to go do on the marketing side and start doing that harder. If a $10 million a year company is doing that, we all should listen and say, holy crap, I need to do that too.
Hey, if it works for the one-man shop and it works for the biggest guys,
I mean, we've had to
something's
revamp
gotta
as
be
a
going right
company,
there.
and Jake,
Yeah.
you know this because you're the co-host of this show, but we're also friends and have a relationship outside of this. But we've had to revamp how we market because we were saying yes to too many things, and things became where we couldn't measure it, and market share was stagnant, and it was like, you know why? Because we started doing things that didn't work. We started spending money on things without seeing if we were actually getting a return. And so everything you do in marketing needs to have a measurable. You need to be able to measure it. You need to be able to see, and if it doesn't produce a result or nothing's happening, changing within your business, scrap it and go back to the basics. Go ahead.
So 2 things I want to touch on there because I think we get absolutely great stuff. So first thing is that the data there, the measuring things. How would you recommend someone starting out? Like, what should they be focusing on? What is it everything? Or should they be recording and looking back at everything just so they can understand, all right, the time I spent here, it bore this fruit. The time I spent there, I got this out of it.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, I think that's trial and error. And so, you know, I remember in the early days, we were sending out coupons and mailers into real estate. We were collecting cards and sending out $50 off coupons. You know, that helped us grow. And in essence, you know, I think a lot of it was we were doing a great job on inspections, right? Your service has to be good. Your customer service has to be great. Let me say that again. Your inspection can be good. The service you provide has to be good. Your customer service has to be great. Customer service has to be great. People have to like you. You can't be doing inspections there. Don't talk to them. Don't do that. You are there to serve them. Customer service takes precedent over the inspection.
Yeah.
And if you know that, right, you're going to get the word of mouth, which you need. As a single man operator, you need word of mouth. When you're big and multi, you need a marketing plan. Word of mouth will only take you so far. You know, you need a marketing plan. But trial and error, man. I mean, we've done it all. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love that. Track things so that you can learn more from the trial and error. I love that little takeaway there. But one thing we have to touch on again is the mentorship. Because one thing I've noticed in the home inspection industry is people's willingness to share their experiences, right? And all the insights that they've gleaned through years of doing it. So Joey, where does someone who's just starting out look for a mentor? Is this something where you have to join groups and get in there and meet people? Or is this as easy as you could pick up the phone and call a home inspector that you're like, hey, I want to be doing what he's doing? Like, how exactly
Finding
should
their
someone go
mentor,
about
I
finding
mean,
their mentors?
you have to look at what people have accomplished. You know, if you have a mentor that's not willing to share financial data with you on how well their business is doing, they're not the right mentor. If they can't be transparent with you and they're just telling you what to do and they don't have any evidence or proof that they've done something worthwhile or something that you're trying to attain, then don't take advice from them. You know, if they don't have the business that you want, you know, you can share ideas and stuff, but why would you take advice from them? You know, you need to make sure who's ever going to be speaking into your business, not just one off, not just saying, hey, here's a recommendation. Oh, here's what worked for me. But if you're trying to build a business and getting advice from a single man inspection company, what are you doing? Right? Get advice from, or your mentor should be somebody that is 3 or 4 years ahead of you, 2 or 3 years, 5 years ahead of you, 10 years ahead of you. So they can speak in and tell you what they did to get from starting out to $1 million, to $1 million to 3 million, to 2 million to 5 million, to 3 to 10 million, right? Yeah. What did they do? You know, those are the people that I want to be masterminding with, that I want to be in contact, that I want to have their cell phone and become friends with, and build those relationships.
Yeah. And they can keep you accountable as well, right? I feel like that's also a huge benefit from having even a mentorship or some sort of professional relationship like that, where there's someone there that you can talk about what you're doing, and they can hold you accountable to your
organizations out there
goals.
that have coaching programs that are great. IEB, Inspector Empire Builder, Inspection Go. You know, you have to do something that fits your business. And one of the things that I would ask when you're trying out these memberships is, how many $1 million members do we have? How many $5 million members do we have? How many $10 million members do we have? You know, and base it off those. You know, if there's a lot of $1 million members in IEB, then, and there's not that many in IGO, which I'm not saying there is or isn't, by the way, I'm just using an example, then you know where you should go. Right? Make it easy for yourself. Get those details.
Yeah.
Don't just join, oh, we have a great coaching program. Oh, we have a lot of, like, how many do you have when if you're comparing mentorship organizations? But if you have a personal mentor, or you have somebody that's ahead in the game than you and is willing to coach you, willing to speak into your business, you know, do it. You know, it's probably going to come at a price. You know, a lot of people don't work for free. You know, and anybody that values their time will not work for free.
Yeah.
And anybody that values your time will not work for free. You know, because things that are, when you have financial backing on a decision or of a learning thing or an investment, because this is really what it is. When you invest in something, you're going to be more invested in it. So you just are. Not just financially, but mentally. You're going to say, oh, shit, I got to really pay attention to this. And you can't just check out and leave, right? And so those are the key things, guys. I mean, don't get lost in these groups and in these chats and the shiny new object over here. Let me tell you something. A drone will not grow your business. It'll help. It's a good tool. Tools don't grow your business. Business acumen, sticking to the basics, that'll grow your business. You know, so those. I think this is a lot of information, Jake, and I think these are great key takeaways.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Greg asked for, you know, wisdom for the new guys and, you know, a lot of information for starting your business. So I think you covered a lot of great stuff there. And then I just want to get to the 4 specific questions he asked.
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to takebackyourprofits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to takebackyourprofits.com and download your report today.
So question number 1 here is cost savings. When you're starting out, is QuickBooks okay until you can afford an accountant or bookkeeper? And are there other comparable programs with learning that help with running a business?
Quickens, there's Divvy. I mean, there's so many different things. You know, from my opinion is you want to go with something that's very user friendly and very easy for you to use. You know, keep it simple because you're the one doing it.
Yeah.
So don't just go, oh, I heard of QuickBooks. Do some research on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do something that's going to be very easy for you until you can pass it along.
Mm-hmm. And also scalability, something we want to think about as well.
And that depends on the software. So I'm not into that because we use QuickBooks. So QuickBooks Online, and then we have somebody that does our QuickBooks for us. So they have access to all of our accounts, and we're paying them to do it. So that's not a question for me.
So, Greg, to answer your question, it sounds like QuickBooks is definitely something that you can be using right now.
And for scaling, go QuickBooks. But check what else is out there. Don't just rely on one thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do your research. That's one thing I've learned is that you got to do your research because you might hear something on a forum, but you want to go check and make sure that a couple other sources are backing it up as well.
Cool.
All right. So question number 2 here. What resources are used to keep up with changing tech and construction practices?
What resources are used to keep up with changing tech? And what was the last?
And construction practices. I think he's wondering about some like how to keep up on what's going on in like the industry technology and
well, I think you got to be involved in the groups, even though I think a lot of what's involved in those groups is drama and bullshit, to be quite frank.
A lot of politics.
But that's where you see stuff. That is your news feed. I mean, even on my Facebook, I have all the groups show up on my feed. All the groups come in. In fact, I want to see what people are talking about. Things that are people incurring. Do I engage in bullcrap? No. I want to do things that are growing my business. But I'm also aware of, there's a new thermal imaging. There's this. Be involved in the industry. Be involved in the groups. Annually, go to conferences. You know, that is an investment I would start doing now as a new person. Go to annual conferences for our industry. Go to Inspection Super Conference. Me and Jake will be there in Vegas, September 26th to October 1st.
Say hi.
We'll be there. You know, that's a big conference. It's an annual conference. There's going to be vendors there. You know, you're going to see things that people that you don't know were there. You know, I remember seeing at my first conference, we ran into Inspection Software Network. We were doing things on Google Calendar. And we always wanted something, and we had multiple inspectors at this point. And we saw ISN. I was like, oh my God, this changes everything. So you're going to find stuff like that. Now, again, you can't say yes to everything. You can't put money in everything. That's not smart. So when you go to these vendors, pick a couple things that are going to help grow your business. Don't do everything. Partner up with a couple of them that can help grow your business. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, get rid of it. You know, but don't make mistakes of just blowing money on all these fancy things. Oh, that guy did a presentation. Now he's selling this marketing. You know, keep it simple until you actually have the financial resources to make smart decisions, or make smart financial decisions. So,
All right, ready for question number 3? All right, question number 3 is getting over self-doubt. I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I never feel like I know enough. Inspectors are generalists, but I start to feel guilty or unqualified when I don't know something right away. So how do you deal with that self-doubt?
I was in high school, and I never forget. I was with a realtor, and he was a busy realtor, man. He made so many transactions. I think he did like 40 transactions a year, a lot of inspections. And I remember I asked him, I said, Kevin, I said, what is the best advice you could give somebody on what it takes to be successful? And he thought about it for a second. He goes, you know what, Joey? I never pretended to know something that I didn't. I think so many of us, when we get a home inspector license, when we get a real estate license, when we get any sort of license that pretty much designate us as a professional in that industry, right? We think that we have to know everything. And the truth is you don't. The truth is you don't need to know everything. It would be impossible for inspectors to know everything. There's so much changing technology.
Yeah.
And so my advice on that is don't pretend to know something you don't. If you don't know something, say, hey, you know what? I've never seen that before. But you know what? I'm going to get you an answer. And I'm going to get you the right answer. And as long as you can get them the right answer and follow through, what's crazy is what you'll find is you build trust that way. It's amazing. You think, they're going to look at me like I don't know anything. And yet you get, as long as now, if you didn't follow through, then you're going to come off as a schmuck. But if you follow through and you get them the right answer, they appreciate it and they trust you. You build trust
even more.
And so we have new inspectors, and I tell them, don't pretend to not know something. People feel that energy. Oh yeah, I know what that is. Oh yeah, that's you lost them. You've literally cut the trust, and now we've lost them. So that would be my biggest advice.
So I think
and you always have to be learning in this field.
Yeah.
Like you have to, if you see something you don't know, and even if the client didn't ask you a question about it, research it. Research it.
Yeah. It's amazing advice. Yeah, absolutely. I really think that, even me personally, I prefer in any industry when I'm asking a specific question, if someone doesn't know, don't just give me an answer that you think is right. Go and tell me you'll go look for it and you'll go find it. That way I know, all right, that you researched it and here's the answer. But I want to speak to this one more second here, because everyone feels this, right? This is called imposter syndrome, when you have this kind of self-doubt in your industry. Imposter syndrome is something that even NASA scientists, right, nuclear physicists will have to deal with. But you have to understand that this is a natural phenomenon because of the spotlight effect in psychology. It's called. It's the more you know about something, the more you know that you don't know. And we've talked about this on prior episodes of this podcast, but it is really true. If you're a doctor of some really niche field in science, you're going to know that there is so much more you don't know. And that's the thing, is the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So that's why you have to keep learning. It should just, every time you learn,
and you know this, I mean, the guy that knows it all knows nothing. Seriously. And if you really self-doubt, not just on your home inspection knowledge, you need to start reading. You need to start listening to audiobooks, and not just like home inspection related stuff, but business stuff, leadership stuff, personal growth books, audiobooks. So you can build up. I remember when I was younger and when we built this business, that really gave me the confidence. It was the little daily habit of reading 15 minutes before I went to bed of a personal growth, a business, and a leadership book that I did for a year and a half very consistently. That really paid dividends for me. And I would always tell people this, like, I did 4 years of high school, 4 years of college. I feel like just by committing to reading 15 minutes a day of a professional development, a business book, a leadership book, that I learned more in a year than I did 8 years of schooling for real world practicality stuff that really helped us grow this business. So get over self-doubt, start filtering what you put in here and start putting good shit in here. Professional development, business, leadership books was what I start with, for sure.
All right, so right before we go on to question number 4, I want to leave you with one thought on question number 3, which is this quote: "Jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than master of one." So as a home inspector, you're going to be jack of all trades, and that is okay. That is great. So On to question 4. What are some unexpected lessons that you learned along the way, or that you learned the hard way?
I think, when we started the company and we started growing, it revealed a lot of um, issues with our systems and our processes. We didn't have a process for radon pickup or
Mm-hmm.
drop off, and we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And we were leaving radon machines everywhere. And so what that really told me was, oh my God, I'm like, agents are getting upset because I'm leaving radon machines at places because I don't have a system or a process to pick them up. It's just like, oh, you pick it up, oh, you leave it for 2 days. How do we know it's there? We had nothing like that. And we were just like winging it. The biggest thing
Mm-hmm.
to avoid issues is have systems and processes for everything that you do within your company. You take a bathroom break. What's the process on
Mm-hmm.
inspection? Seriously? I mean, everything you need to start looking at it like that because it'll pay
Yeah.
dividends to you again on the back end. And you're always going to have to refine it, improve it. You're going to hire an inspector and he's going to say, why did we do that? Oh, well, that was this. Oh, I think this would be a better way. And then you say, oh, shoot. And I correct it and I make it better. Start doing that early. How would you train yourself doing an inspection before you hire an inspector? Write that down. And so when you hire the first person, you have a system and process. Or even better, get with somebody who's done it and ask them to share what they do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Ask them what their system and process is. But that's what I would do. I would make
Yeah.
sure I'd start putting systems and processes in place before I need them. Because that'll help you make less
Mm-hmm.
mistakes and less drastic mistakes that you're paying $500 to a realtor. You're getting them unbelievable tickets to a Nats game. I say that because that's stuff we've done. So, because when we make mistakes, processes.
So I want to clarify here. When you say systems and practices, you mean writing this.
No,
You mean writing this on paper, right? This isn't an
if
in the
if
head
you're
thing.
if you're a guy
You gotta
a
get
guy
this
or girl who's
get this
starting a
down, right?
business and wearing 18 different hats, you will not retain stuff. You need to write stuff down. You need to put pen to paper.
Yeah.
You need to put or type it into your notebook or type it in somewhere and start having a record of all that stuff. You need to.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I've always been a big
Yep.
proponent of that. I think that it becomes real when you put pen to paper. When it goes from,
Exactly.
your head to paper, it goes from the abstract to the concrete. So I think that's great because now in this episode we've talked about tracking things. We're talking about figuring out these systems and these practices and
Yep.
all that. So you need to get that to paper so that it exists. Absolutely. So that is it for the listener questions. If there is any anecdote or any lesson you want to leave us with, Joey.
Perfect. I think keep it simple. Don't say yes to everything when you're starting out.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Um, and be very consistent in your efforts. Keep it simple, keep it consistent. It's not going to be hard. You will have to face rejection. You'll have people that probably don't want to talk to you or give you a presentation. Be consistent. And you know what? Keep going back to those offices. Keep putting those offices on your list to go back to because persistence pays off. And we've even just with our company, there's offices we still don't get into, but we still go back to. And it's funny when you're consistent, some of those offices will actually start giving us presentations. So don't take a no literally and never go back. If somebody says no, you can't do a presentation, put it on your calendar for the next month and go back and keep doing that. So keep it
Yeah.
simple, be consistent,
Yeah.
and a no is just go visit them next month if you get a no. That's how I would leave this one. But I think this was great,
Thank
Jake.
you, Joey. Yeah, this was fantastic. Awesome. And thank you to Greg. Thank you for the questions here, because you had some fantastic questions that I want to say this real quick, just specify this. I think it was 9 days ago Greg DM'd us on Instagram, and it was brought to my attention immediately. And I said, you know what? These are amazing questions. We have to get these on the podcast ASAP. Joey and I usually record these episodes in advance, and we have a library of them. But this one was filmed 9 days after someone asked me these questions, and they'll be up tomorrow. So I just want to say thank you to Greg. Thank you to everyone who's engaging with us on Instagram. And if you're listening and you have any questions for Joey that are burning questions that you really want to know the answer to, or something that you think would be of value to our listeners, please reach out, because we would love to hear what you have to say. And we just want to make this a podcast that home inspectors can use as a resource, for the business side of home inspection. It's a niche podcast here, but we really want to provide great value for home inspectors. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much, and keep them coming. Follow us on Instagram if you haven't already. We're just posting a lot of good resources for you guys, and for home inspectors in general, and in the home service industry. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And until next time.
Yeah. Until next week. We'll see you Friday, 8 a.m. next week. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pro Joe podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.